Welcome back, folks, to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. Before we start, I'm going to put my phone on mute. That's right. That's a good idea always when you're doing a podcast. Today's show, we got Stephen Perry of 1000Bulbs.com. Oh, yeah. We're going to get into it with him. We promise we're not going to talk about any COVID-19, though. That's a deal. That's right. No COVID today. But before we get there, we got to go to the easy folks, Greg, at Keystone Technologies, KEYSTONETECH.com, brother.
Now, I don't know what we're going to talk to Steve about today, but I have a feeling of a few things, and
Light
Light Made
bulbs,
Easy
maybe?
might be one of them. Maybe light bulbs, but maybe changing the way lighting was done. And I think Keystone did a great job of that. You know, a lot of companies just kind of put out what they thought was right. Keystone actually listened to customers, put the right product out, makes it easy for people to understand lighting, to get lighting, and to have the benefits that come from it. So check out Keystone for all your LED needs.
Great supporter of distributors as well, actually,
Mm-hmm.
and super innovative. You got to go to KeystoneTech.com. That's KEYSTONETECH.com. Of course, proud members of the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. That's right, where it all started, man. And if you want to check out our educational suite of products, I know all three of the guys on this call have people in our educational products. And of course, LS Evolve, we got coming out hot. We got Mark Ray talking health effects. We got John Davenport talking about flicker. We're going to do a bunch of dark sky modules with Pete Strasser from the IDA, all coming out in the next month or so. So go to nailed.org. That's NAILD.org. But for right now, what's up, Stephen Perry?
Good morning, Toronto.
Hey, yeah, that's right.
Don't stop believing. I broke my
Oh,
own rule. I
there you
broke
go.
my own rule. Sorry
There
about
you
that.
go. That's okay.
My
Don't
bad.
stop believing.
Yeah.
What do you got going on down there in Texas, brother? You guys, you know what? I've always admired 1000Bulbs, and Kim Pedersen and what you guys have been doing down there. Leading the online charge and, sort of taking distribution to another level. How did it all start with Kim and 1000Bulbs years ago?
Yeah. Kim is a entrepreneur at heart, and he got in the lighting business back in the 70s up in the Nebraska area. Just working where he could, working for who he could. Wound up moving to the Dallas area back in '79. Still working at the distribution level, more of a door-to-door type, old school salesman. Which, if you sat down and talked with him, that is coursing through his veins. He's a door-to-door salesman in 2021. So sometimes that's a ship that's hard to steer. But Kim Pedersen's a great leader. So 79, he was bustling. But he wanted to do something for himself. So he started his own company. He'll tell the story. He had two sawhorses in the door. That was his desk. He and his wife were the first employees, and they were hustling. They were selling bulbs to places like the Reunion Tower in Dallas. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the big needle-looking ball in the sky, but he would go and sell the heavy filament 130-volt light bulbs that go outside that nobody wants to change more than once a year. But the internet became a reality starting in the early 90s. In 1996, he launched 1000Bulbs.com. First iteration of it. I don't know what that website looked like. But that was over 25 years ago. And we've seen many iterations of it. I started with him in 2005, personally. One of 5 salesmen at that point. So here we are today with 35 salespeople. We've got 20 to 25 people in the customer service department. We have over 200 employees, heavy in the distribution area, online retailing. So it's a great success story.
For sure. Now, you guys are located where in Texas again?
Right. We're in Dallas. Yeah. Well, so
okay.
we whenever we're talking to somebody, we just call it Dallas, but we are literally corporate offices in a little suburb called Garland, Texas. We actually just moved our distribution center to a brand spanking new 200,000 square foot facility in Mesquite, Texas. Literally this week, we have finished the move, state of the art technology in terms of the packing, the manifest, receiving. I don't know how many trucks we get in every day, but yeah, it's really a great thing to be a part of.
What kind of lighting did you put in this new facility?
So, well, our own, first of all.
Okay.
Number one, but we actually have, if you want to be specific, it's 40 to 45 feet are the ceiling heights, and we've got 300-watt linear high bays with aux sensors, some emergency backups when needed, and the sucker is lit like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. I think over 350 of those fixtures are installed right now.
That's great. Exterior? Do you do LED
You
there?
know, yeah, we don't control the exterior. It's about, I don't know. I think when I went out there about 6 weeks ago, I think I noticed 10 or 12 different units. So we were one of the first lessees to move in, but yeah, we don't unfortunately get to control the outside lighting. But I mean, it is brand new, so absolutely, it's LED.
Good. And what is your role there specifically?
So I transitioned early last year, out of the sales account manager role. Kim called me, and I've known him for a while, obviously, and he just kind of needed somebody to step in with him and maybe penetrate with him the marketing aspect, the purchasing aspect, the training aspect, just someone to kind of be a right hand man. We didn't know what to call it. He eventually called it his liaison. So, if I have a title, it's senior manager / liaison. We have two very accomplished sales managers that I had the fortune of working with and as salespeople, and they were promoted 4 or 5 years ago. And we have VP of marketing, we have VP of merchandising, we have VP of operations. I kind of get my hands dirty in everything and report back to him without being a mole. So, it's a really good role. It's I'm basically learning the business, so which is
I
a
got
good
a job
opportunity.
for the liaison.
Yeah,
You got
talk
to
to me.
you got to tell Kim Pedersen he's got to come on the show at some point. It'd be a
Well,
great honor for us.
there
I met him years
there is no,
ago. I met him years
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
He's definitely a different kind of dude. Like when you meet him,
Hmm.
there's something, there's something different about him.
No, his
And
presence speaks volumes. Absolutely.
yes, he has a presence. He's one of those guys that as soon as you see him, there's something about him that's different. You know it right away. And I'm using the
Yeah.
word different because most people like that are, they're a mixture of different things, and they're hard to quantify. Like what he's built at 1000 Bulbs is nothing short of phenomenal, actually, in the lighting industry. And so there has to be things about him that are unique and special, and we would love to have him. So that's you're getting an assignment from the
Hey,
host of the Get a Grip on
there
Lighting
we go. I
podcast,
can,
brother.
if that was the only reason for coming on this podcast,
Show's over.
then mission accomplished. Let's cut and let's cut it and go. So I mean, listen, his time is your time. I mean, he'd be honored to come on. Now, whether or not you're ready for him, that's another story, and that'd be on you.
Yeah.
But
We're
I
always
think I
ready.
think
Let's go.
I think it would be a wonderful conversation that your audience, I think, would thoroughly enjoy.
Mm.
Mhm.
So
So now from your role and with 1000 Bulbs, you said you have 35 salespeople.
That's true, and we're growing that this year. We want to add about 15 more.
So did you have, uh, looking back, and maybe you already answered it here, but in February 2020 to February 21, you have more employees?
We've actually, we've had a few casualties of war, right? With
Yep.
what we're calling the pandemic that we cannot name. Is that
yeah,
what we're doing
Yes.
today? Okay, so
That thing.
we had some casualties, but really we were positioned to withstand a lot of stuff, and
Mhm.
we actually added. I want to say 7 to 10 new employees through it all last year, just in the account manager's role. And our account managers, the tenure there can be anywhere from 6 months to 15 years right now. There's 35 of them, and it's diverse. It's actually it's female led out there, which is significant. If a lot of our company actually is female led, and so which we're not embarrassed to we want to portray that, right? I mean, that's something that we're proud of. From VPs on down to account reps. And so, their role, they jump in day one, they're talking to customers. Now, they're starting talking to residential's customers, they're learning the ropes, but eventually they're talking to corporations that have 150 locations, and we're talking about how can we light every single square foot that you have. So, and most of my day and my role, aside from being Kim's, liaison, is specifically I train. So I do product training, sales technique training, just kind of parlaying, whatever experience I had into how can I make our staff better. And that's a learning process, and that's where Nailed really, you know, I've told people enough times, if I had taken Nailed as I was an account rep, I would have sold a lot more. There's no doubt about it. I
Sure.
just took it 6 months ago,
Yeah.
He's
so
talking about
I can
LS1
definitely.
and the suite
LS1, yeah.
and LS Evolve as well is I don't know if you have your people in it yet.
Not
I'll,
yet, but I've
I'll
heard
give
of it.
I'll give
Yes,
you an example on that, and I actually want to talk about the women issue a little bit because
sure.
I'm gonna get on if that's okay, Greg. I know you wanted to say something
Yeah.
there, but
No, you
you
go.
know,
You go.
LS Evolve is an interesting I'll give an example. Yeah, just yesterday, one of my guys had finished LS Evolve, and he came to me and he's like, he watched Brian Brandis's track light video. Now, a lot of distributors don't sell track lighting. Okay, I don't know
And
why,
we
but
do. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, all of us can, but a lot of people aren't actively selling it. It's very high profit, high margin stuff. And he came to me. He's like, I want to buy these Satco track lights right after he took the LS Evolve module. And so they have interest. So like it really works as a sales tool to put uh, uh, um, what is it? Non like get people thinking about the scope of different types of things they can sell to customers. So it's interesting.
Well,
But
yeah. Sure. Go
commenting
ahead.
on
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
your women issue, the point you made about women and being proud of that. So Greg and I did a bunch of series on women in the lighting industry. Okay. And I find this an interesting phenomenon that the idea that there isn't that the lighting industry isn't welcoming to women is a new idea by that millennials and Gen X's have adopted. But if you talk to women in the lighting industry that are older, they all report that there's no barriers and no issues, and
Yeah.
there never was.
Interesting. Yeah. And maybe it's a mindset,
It's a
and
mindset. People are
it,
telling people that it's a problem. But if you
yeah.
look at all the top scientists in lighting, other than Mark Ray, they're all women. Okay. And you can see women all over the place in lighting, not just in lighting design, but in lighting distribution as well. And
Yeah, talking electrical stuff. I mean, you getting
yeah,
getting dirty and talking not just the basics, but the complex stuff, and that's nothing to do with us training. That's just, I mean, that's intelligence, that's confidence, and
yeah. So
and being
I
able
don't,
to
this
do the
idea
job.
that there's no women in this idea that this is a new thing in lighting, that lighting is now becoming welcoming to women is I think is a fallacy. And I don't think that people should hang their hats on that. And we talked to Carol McLogan, who is she now runs Electrofed in Canada. She worked for Philips, and she came on, and we struggled to get her, and she ended up saying that actually she felt like it was easier being a woman in lighting than she felt like some of her colleagues that were men. So I'm not so sold on this pop culture idea that people apply to the lighting industry and say that, the lighting industry is not friendly to women. That's not what older women report. And it seems to be something that people have taken from Instagram or Facebook and tried to apply to somewhere that it doesn't belong. And so that's my point on that.
Sure,
And
sure. Yeah. From my experience, I've seen some good old boy networks, especially down here in the deep south, who maybe don't want to entertain the idea of talking with a lady sales rep to get their business. And I've seen that personally have to be overcome. So I'm proud of our staff out here because uh, they've been able to at least overcome down here in my neck of the woods that stereotype sometimes that there's only certain people I'm going to talk about electrical stuff with, and it's not you. You know what I mean? And so it's just a different experience, maybe. But I can tell you, it's something that we're certainly happy to have that here. And whether it's a big thing or not a big thing, it's something that I'm looking across the room right now, and I can listen to phone calls, and it would blow you away. Just the strength and the salesmanship and the level of knowledge, and it doesn't matter. But I've been on the phone calls. I've listened to phone calls where the guy on the other end, he doesn't believe what you just said. So sometimes it is something to overcome, and it's a good thing that it's happening.
well, we'll have to
For sure.
disagree on that. Um, And I'm not taking my word for it. We've talked to a lot of women in the business, and they were reticent to report this. They were disagreeable on making the points you just made.
Sure,
And
sure, that's
so, I
fair.
mean, and I invite anybody that wants to come on the show and to discuss it anytime, of course. And we're going to get some excuse me. We're going to get some blowback on social media, as I always do. But you know what? Anyone that wants to come on the show and disagree with me about that, we did a deep dive on that, and it was very difficult to find. And so I don't like the problem I have with this, and I hate to take a turn here, but this is supposed to be a podcast, and it's supposed to be interesting and develop discourse. But I find that people are retroactively applying these things in places that are not appropriate. And I always like to push back a little bit. And if people, like you said, hey, man, your observation is different, I'm not going to take your anecdotal experience and say you're wrong about that. On your experience in life and old boy networks and all this kind of stuff that you referred to, I just don't see the lighting industry as ever being unwelcoming to women. And
Sure, and I don't think, I can appreciate that for sure.
Okay, all right. Now that we've settled that, Greg Eric.
Yeah, I mean, this fisticuffs from Toronto to Dallas, it's pretty intense.
All right, well, I'm in between you guys, so let's tone it down. The sales reps you have, are they all in your Texas location, or are they all over the place, or remote, or where are they at?
So for the most part, they're here in Dallas in the office. We do actually have a couple of reps for different reasons who are actually outside of the state, and we have a couple here in the Dallas area that work from home that started remotely during the pandemic, and it just worked out for them. It worked out that they were more productive in the way that they do business. So there was no reason to bring them back. But
Yeah.
the 35 out of the 35, 31, I believe, are actually in the office right now today.
Got it. And that's kind of one of the things Mike and I have talked about before, is lighting seems to be regional to some degree. For you guys, no. I mean, you're all
No,
over the
not at all.
place because it's online.
Not at all.
Now,
Yeah.
and I've always felt that you need some presence in person. You know, again, this is just my own experience from the lighting I've done. Do you guys do any in person, or is everything you're doing online and on the phone?
Yeah, it's all online on the phone, and this is where Mr. Pedersen would come in and go, yes, I agree with you 100%, old school, door-to-door, in-person sales. And so there's a segment that we're just not getting to right now that we would love the opportunity to meet. And that's something that it's always on the table. It's always, how can we secure more business? I mean, we're in this, it's a business, right? That's why we do this. And that's a part of the market that we know they do not shop with online retailers. They're looking at their specifications, and they're talking to people in their area with their marketing or their distribution reps, and they're going, where can I get this material? And those people not necessarily talking to us, and we get that. So yeah, I think that's always something. It's an obstacle as far as revenue goes, but it's one that we've overcome pretty well with our business model. I mean, there's still a lot of business that likes to shop online, and then I think we're not the only ones that have our model where we lure you in with the online website, but then we show you what we can do, which is a white glove service with your account, with a corporate account, a business account, and it's I've always viewed the website as a springboard, and the springboard is to someone that you can you can give all your lighting needs to, and say, I don't want this little pest on my desk anymore. Steve, you take care of it. This is what I need each month. You do it. I don't want to worry about it.
So
And we do that really well.
That's the difference between, and I wanted to ask you this. That's the difference between, say, like selling on a marketplace, like eBay or Amazon or something like that, and your website, where you can kind of, I like the word lure you used. That's very, very interesting. That it's like, that's like the front gate, and then you come into the 1000 Bulbs world of ancillary services and white glove like you use. It's like, hey, you want to buy light bulbs, great. But if you really want to you take care of your lighting system, say hello to our 35 sales reps and our sales team over here that can really help you. That's an excellent strategy, Steve.
It works, and it's relational. I mean, it really is. I mean, I've been out of the sales for about 18 months. I have customers that call me daily that I haven't talked to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but they call me direct or they
Mm.
email me and say, hey, can I get this for you again? And I haven't seen them. Well, I strike that. In the Dallas area, I had a lot of Dallas customers. I did go see them face to face. And to your point, it actually does help. When you put a face to a voice or an email, your business expands. But I had many what I would call friends throughout the country that I
Mm.
was their light bulb guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's who I was to them. They weren't buying from 1000 bulbs anymore. They were buying from Steve Perry.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is it, but that's the experience that makes 1000 bulbs better,
Mm-hmm.
makes it more profitable, is that they're buying. I mean, that I was their face-to-face guy. They just never saw my face,
So now that you've transitioned to
which is
this
not a
new
bad thing.
role,
That's a good thing. Yeah.
but now that you're in this new role and they're still reaching out to you, what are you doing? Are you taking care or are you passing it on to a new rep?
No, so most of my accounts have been reassigned, right? And I
Okay.
handpicked some of those, and some of were just, we all of our reps, they could have 3 to 4 thousand accounts in their name, right? But really, the what are butter in their bread are about 200 to 500, really relevant daily, weekly, quarterly accounts. Those are all taken care of. I mean, they get passed along, and if they're if it's a marginal account, we'll find somebody to take care of them. I typically will try to talk to them once just to ease a transition, and
Yeah.
also because I just like talking to them. I mean, if you're in sales and you don't like people, then you shouldn't. You're not. Then you're not in sales. Actually, you're doing.
Mhm.
You're getting a paycheck. So I was in sales, and I like people, and even when they're disagreeable, like your cohort over here, I still like them, and I would love to have the conversations with them. And sometimes it wasn't about lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it
Sure.
was about life. It was
Sure.
about their kids.
Mhm.
If I can just tell one story, there was a gentleman who was an online customer. We lured him in. Right, he was an electrician in California, and I'm going to say his name if that's okay, because
Sure.
Mhm.
If
was a
he's
dear
okay
friend of
with
mine.
it, if you know he's going to be
Well,
okay with it, yeah, then sure.
well, I'll tell you at the end of the story, you'll understand. His name was John Gibson, and he had a problem with something, and he called to get it handled, and I didn't handle it the way he thought I should, and he called me out on it, and it actually changed the way I did business, and he
Mm.
was right. And it was a simple thing. It wasn't an egregious thing. It was something simple, and John and I became very good friends. And he didn't spend a lot of money. He might have spent $5,000 a year with us as an
Mm-hmm.
electrician, maybe a little more. But the point was, he started sending me. He was a hot air balloonist, and he was a motorcycle enthusiast, and I would get pictures of him and his son on a hot air balloon trip. And we would just talk about life, as he was buying lighting. And then I got a call from his wife. He developed Lou Gehrig's disease. He's passed, but I mean,
Mhm.
when one of your clients passes and their wife calls you, then you've done your job, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what 1000 Bulbs is all about. And we're not just an online retailer. We are absolutely, a relation built face to face, even though we don't see you, opportunity for you to buy your lighting and to be that guy for you, that gal for you, that person for you. We are your lighting. We want to be an expert where the nailed comes in, right? But we are your lighting person.
I'm going.
Now, mine's quick and
Okay,
easy.
go.
When you do your calls, are you doing Zoom calls or phone calls or emails or
No,
what,
they're
what
phone
kind of
calls. Yeah,
always phone? Okay.
yeah, it's always phone. There's a lot of email traffic, lots of email traffic.
Mhm.
We're actually incorporating. We're discussing incorporating the engagement through chat, because that does seem to be something that clients like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
we're looking into how we can incorporate that into our engagement. But yeah, there's the Zoom thing in a sales pit of 35 people that would get a little, it might get a little weird.
It'd
So
also
that
wreck your
hasn't happened yet.
bandwidth on your internet too. Like if
Sure,
everybody was doing
sure.
Zoom, you'd have to like upgrade it. But you know what's interesting? I have a couple things. I find Zoom a bit intrusive. Like there's a value to the phone that is different than Zoom. When, like, for example, when you're talking to someone over Zoom, you have to be part of your energy is focused on, not doing something stupid. Like just yesterday, we were recording with somebody, and the guy forgot to turn off his camera, and then he got up and scratched himself, and it was like super weird for everybody.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you have to
I've got
focus.
this bottle of water. I don't want to drink it. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. It's
so
like when you're on the phone, you can kind of relax, and it's a different vibe, and it's not so intrusive to people. It's like Zoom is like you got to log on, and then I have to see you, and a lot of people turn their cameras off. It's like it's too complicated. Sometimes it's better just to pick up the phone and make a call. I think I really
totally
believe in
agree.
that.
Yeah.
But what I liked about when you talked about Mr. Gibson is this idea that I've always had in the back of my head that you learn from your customers. You customers teach you. And the ones that are the most disagreeable, so disagreeable, folks, is a personality trait. It's not good or bad. In fact, agreeable people are probably way more annoying than disagreeable people in the long
Right.
run.
No. Yeah. Sure.
In the short term, you're never going to get a straight answer out of someone who's high in agreeableness. They're always going to try to figure out what it is that you want to hear and tell you that. It's very annoying um, in a business setting. But these disagreeable customers that are willing to state what maybe everybody else is unwilling to say to you, like, Steve, you screwed this up. Next time you do this, make sure you do it this way. There's probably like 100 people that thought the same thing, but really were just too agreeable in their personality traits to bring it up to you. Those
And,
people
and
that are willing to actually speak out need to be embraced, man. Bring those people into your world and listen to them.
that was almost word for word what he said to me, and it's literally 10 years ago, but I can still hear it in his voice. Hey, when you screw that up next time, don't do it like that again. Yeah, sure, I get it. That's easy, And one of the techniques I told people out here is you tend to run from what we call RMAs, returns,
Yes.
RGAs. When that when one of the things that happens in our business is that you're in a phone queue, right? So it's you're next in line. It's your phone call. You just saw the person ahead of you get the 20 grand lottery call, right?
Sure.
And so now it's your turn. And your call comes in, and it's some dude who bought the wrong A19 and needs to return it.
Oh.
And that's not your lottery call, but my point is the returns it's an opportunity to be a hero, number one, right? No one likes to deal with mistakes and returns, so it's a part of the online business, right? It's
Hmm.
you I bought a drill at Home Depot one time. I dropped it, tore it up, but they took it right back without a problem. Calling somebody from 1,000 miles and returning something it's a little more of a hassle, but it's an opportunity for us to be a hero and to make a client, right? And to make a again the idea is we want clients for life, and I don't know how many quote unquote online retailers look for opportunities to turn a bad into a good. We're not worried about the transaction that went wrong. We're worried about where you buying your lighting the next 10 years, and that one guy with the A19 may be the CEO of a large company. You treat him right, you never know what's going to happen. So that's really the philosophy when someone does business with us. um, you know the other retailers are great, I'm sure. There's big names out there, but we do have a level of personal engagement, I think, that no one best. There may be some that equal, but I guarantee no one best what we do here when it comes to that.
Respect for people should not be curated. You know what I'm saying? By who
Well,
they are.
that's a big word. He needs to define that.
No, so like people say, oh, you have to treat this person with respect because they're this person. That's
Right.
curating. Like,
Yes.
what are you
No,
talking about? You need to treat
the,
everybody with
the, the,
respect.
the, the curation was the fact that they're a person, right?
Yes.
That's who
That
you respect.
Yeah, they
Right.
called us and they have a
I
need of some
respect that.
kind related to
Yes.
our business, so we respect them. Not
And
because
now
they're,
there's,
they're
yeah,
they're the CEO
right.
of some firm or they're a big shooter or something. That's when you're getting it. That's when you're being manipulated actually. You're being
Sure.
manipulated by
Absolutely.
that person. If you're like treating them differently because somehow you have some aura that they're more important than other people, you are being manipulated. And I want to make a
Yep.
comment on this learning from customers as well because it's so important if people are listening. A lot of young people and people listen to this show. If somebody's willing to state an opinion that other people don't want to state and it's risky or it takes guts, they're not trying to be disagreeable. What they're trying to do is point to the truth. And they may be wrong, or they may not be exactly right in relationship to their relationship to 1000 Bulbs, say, or their opinion on women in lighting. But maybe they're trying to point out to you, that young women, that the lighting business is not, there's no barriers there. Come on in. 1000 Bulbs wants you. Premier Lighting wants you. Atlas Lighting wants you to come work for us. There's not this big problem of patriarchy pushing down on you. It's a very welcoming industry. It pays well, and you can learn a lot, and you can have a great career in lighting. And that's people
There's
from all backgrounds, all diversity to everybody. The lighting industry is welcoming to you. So you shouldn't feel like there's some sort of barrier that you have to overcome when you come here. Come on in, we want you. And learning from customers, Stephen. The idea that you took that and it applies, that's important from a 1000 Bulbs perspective, because 1000 Bulbs sounds to me like it welcomes that kind of feedback from people. Does that come from Kim as well?
Kim will describe himself as an imperfect person living in an imperfect world where everybody expects perfection. So you're constantly failing and learning. You're constantly falling down and getting up. You're constantly learning from mistakes. People who don't make mistakes typically never learn anything. If that's their mentality. I mean, if you think that you're perfect, you're not learning anything at all. And really the only way to learn is because you did something that might be quote unquote a mistake, and you've figured out, how do I not make that again? I've learned something. So yeah, there's definitely a mentality that gets passed down from the CEO that, hey, we are imperfect people, but let's try to do the best we can. And the way we do that is through education, through being honest and open, and being able to express those opinions too, right? You've got to be able to be honest with what you think, even if you're talking to the CEO. So he'll walk around and he'll have little moments where he's very accessible. He'll come into the
Hmm.
sales pit, to the customer service area, to merchant marketing, and he'll engage, and he'll engage with anyone just to see what maybe putting a finger on the pulse of what they think, and sometimes he'll get the correct, he'll make the correct assumption from what he hears, and sometimes the liaison will have to go, well, that's not really what they meant, but we talk about it, and we all learn from it, and he's surrounded himself with a lot of people who love him. I know that he loves us, and that I don't use that word loosely. He really does. He cares for our families. We've mentioned Kim. It would behoove me to mention his wife Patsy as well.
Mm.
I mean, behind any good man, uh, not any, but there's sometimes it's a really strong wife, partner, so to speak, and she's excellent. Patsy Pedersen is the sweetest woman I've ever met in my life. Uh, you know, my mom's not listening, so I can say that, but she is. She is. She's
That's
really
funny.
just a sweetheart of a woman. And when she's up here, the lights get a little brighter, and that's a horrible pun, but it's just the truth. And so she's fantastic as well. So I want to give her some kudos publicly. That she's been very, not only supportive but innovative. She handles anything that's filling. I'm gonna use the word charity related. So she's pushing any ways to take the blessings that we've gotten from this company, and passing them on. And that's a passion of hers. So it would be great for you guys. She wouldn't talk to you because she doesn't want any public. She's not the on air person, but she needs to be honored at least on air. So there you go.
Nice. Now, in terms of your business, do you have a percentage, or what percentage is residential versus commercial? Do you know that number?
That number. Yeah, I don't know the number. Just I wouldn't be able to give you a specific. And I know I'm absolutely right.
Percentage.
What I
Yeah.
Yeah, what I know is that, number one, that the disparity, it used to be 60-40 residential, maybe 15, 20 years ago. It's absolutely reversed. I would say it's probably 65-70 commercial, uh, with the rest residential, especially in terms of revenue. Now, traffic may be a bit different, but in terms of revenue, it's absolutely a commercial oriented business. Um, and so, we've grown from just selling light bulbs and ballast and rope light to, uh, you know, LED fixtures. If you've taken the time to get on the website, you'll see that we are deeply entrenched in all things industrial and office LED fixtures. And that's really been the push of the last 2 years, is to make sure that, hey, you need, if you need to supply your 200,000 square foot warehouse, we've got it not only covered, in stock, ready to ship, palletized. It's easy to do. We can get it to you in 3 to 4 days. We're ready to rock and
Stop
roll with that.
that.
So we have inventory.
Stop that. The other people want to sell stuff too, all right?
I know. Well, what am I going to do? You gave me the mic
How
today,
about
so
there you go. How about of those commercial customers? Do you have any idea what percent might be contractor versus end user?
uh, again, guesswork.
Yeah.
Being able to actually put a finger on how many that is. But I would bet, I know personally speaking, um, my two number one types of accounts were supply houses and contractors. That was my niche, and I don't think I was alone in that. I know that we do a lot of contractors, but our pricing dictates that the end user goes around them sometimes. I mean, you get great pricing right online. It's sometimes
Yeah,
it's a
stop
battle
that
between
too, would you?
yeah, uh, you know, again, you gave me the opportunity to say
Yeah.
something, but
Well, you know what?
we
You said
go
that
ahead.
Kim's an imperfect man living in an imperfect world with a world that expects perfection. I think your website's pretty perfect, dude, to be honest with you.
I really appreciate that. A
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean,
work. We
it's
have in-house, and that's in-house. That we do that
that I was
ourselves.
going to ask you, do you have
Yeah,
developers working for you? That was one of the
we
questions I
do.
wrote down beforehand.
Absolutely. That technology is something that we wanted to do in-house for, from the beginning. And we in all honesty, from how we acquired these particular group of people, I don't know. I mean, it's not my realm. But I know who they are, and they're fantastic people. Now they work remotely as well. They do great jobs from their houses, but they built this thing,
Is
and
Thousand Bulbs
and
a development company or a light bulb distributor?
we're an online retailer, is what we are. So we've built our website in house, but our focus is on distributing light bulbs through online retailing. We have our hands in a little bit of everything. If we're not a technology company, we're not going to do well in 2021 moving forward, right? So we've got to be able to pivot, as things turn. But our core is we are a sales group, and what we sell is lighting, and
Mm.
we sell it online. That's the core of who we are.
You guys have your own
No,
brand?
you're
Sorry, Greg. You guys have your own brand?
exactly what I was going to ask. There you
Sorry.
go.
We
Yeah.
one KB is the main distributor for PLT Solutions. So we that is a an up and coming manufacturing brand, and we're their number one rep. So that's a line of products you're going to see on the website quite a bit, and we're fully entrenched in helping them bring that line at least to the general public. We also, you can see other brands as well that we're distributing pretty heavily. I mean, you'll see TCP
Sure.
as a brand on there. We have partnerships with Acuity, with Hosley. So we're not beholden to any one brand, and that's one of the things I think that has also set us apart, is
Sure.
that we haven't signed a deal to say we're exclusive with anybody. We're If you want to push your products to the general public, we are a place to do that.
You said 1 KP? Was that the name of the
One
company?
KB, 1000
1 KB.
bulbs.
Okay.
1 KB, B as in
Oh,
boy,
okay.
yeah, B as
I
in
got it.
bulbs. So
Yeah.
yeah, I probably should say 1000bulbs.com, right? Because
Sure.
again, that's free advertising, and Kim would hate me if I didn't say that.
Do you guys sell on Amazon?
You know, we used to, and we may have a few products that are still strung out there just because we're trying to get some inventory out. But we made a hard right about, I don't know, 15 months ago to stop selling through that channel.
Why is
Yeah,
that?
that'd be an interesting question for you and Kim to talk about, I'm sure. But
Okay.
really, it's we just felt that it wasn't profitable for us, was the main thing. I mean, to be able to meet that channel's demands, you know, and the types of orders that you would see from that,
Mm.
it just didn't really fit what we do well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do all things well. So, you know, we tried it, we did it, and we don't do it anymore.
Hmm.
This PLT, what is that? Is that precision light technology? Is that what it stands for?
Precision lighting and transformers
Transfer.
is
Okay.
what that is. Yeah, yeah.
And are you
Yep,
guys
and
the
they're,
only distributor of them? Is that what you said?
you know, we very well may be. You know, I
Yeah.
know that in my supply houses, I would get requests for those products. They show me the spec sheets, and yeah, we got that. That's something that we can handle for sure. So,
Sure. And do you know what your highest moving SKU is of all the products?
you know, actually, I do. In terms of revenue, it's a 2x4 panel that is color selectable, wattage selectable. So, and it's been by far, well, I don't want to say by far, but it's certainly the one that is Kim's little, you know, his little crown, right? That he likes to
Hmm.
tout. Hey, you know, look how many of these we sold this month and this month and this month, and he's, you know, we're all proud of it. But yeah, it's a 2x4 backlit panel. It's you can, you know, it's well priced, very
Yep.
competitive, and you know, we'll sell pallets and pallets at a time.
How about so that even volume wise, that probably is the highest moving?
It's one of them, if not, yeah, if it's not it's one of them. We do well with tubes. We do well with high bay fixtures, UFOs. Um, you know, yeah. We also, by the way, cover your ears over here. We do well with incandescent light bulbs too.
You know what?
Um,
You know what?
you
There's
know,
a demand for that. I mean,
and we absolutely there is.
and I would say this
Uh,
too. I would say this as well. It's going to emerge. So they actually invented. I read an article that they invented a high efficiency incandescent lamp. Okay, so that not quite the lumens per watt of LED, but they do something with the filament and the coat. It can't be clear, but they have created a lamp that competes. Some German company, but I believe that. So my house is 50-50 incandescent and LED. And the reason why is because I've been doing the lighting, got a grip on lighting podcast for so long that I've noticed that there is something to incandescent and the infrared waves that is important for human health. And they haven't figured out what that is yet. And I've asked all the top scientists. But I believe that we need a certain amount of incandescent light in our homes for health reasons. And I don't know why that is. And dim to warm and warm color temperatures are not the whole story. There's something to the fire with heat and the light and the waves that is important for our circadian rhythms. As humans, I think we evolved in firelight. And so I think, a large percentage of the population out there knows this intuitively for some reason. They,
like an instinct almost, right? It's built
yes,
within them. Yeah,
yes,
they're drawn to it. You
yes.
know, and Kim would agree with you on that. I mean, he loves incandescent lighting, loves
Hmm.
it. You know, the consumers, you know, it's we're not going to talk politics, but you can hear some really good conversations when it comes to incandescent lighting on the back end of phone calls in terms of why I can't get it or why I can't get it or why it's evil or what
We can
whatever.
talk about
It's interesting.
regulations. Well, let's talk
Yeah,
about
you know it.
regulations. Let's talk about
You know
regulations. We
it.
got a little, we got
Yeah,
a little
and I don't.
feedback here going that crept into the show. Scott's working on it,
Okay.
but we can talk about regulations and crude regulations that eliminate lighting categories should not be engaged in by states and provinces and governments. If they want to
Yeah.
eliminate, say, the 400-watt metal halide, that's a good bulb to maybe get rid of. You know what I'm saying? Like select certain technologies which are massively pervasive and make those illegal. But the idea of eliminating a category, like you can't sell halogen and incandescent lights in California, that's not good for California. Okay,
No,
there,
it's not.
there's a lot of applications where there's only incandescent and halogen lights for those applications. There isn't anything else.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, I'm not going to profess to know the origins of the regulations and the laws that have gone into effect and who started what. All I know is that there's a lot of people who want to buy incandescent light bulbs.
Sure. Yep.
They love the way they look. They love the way they dim.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. There is a little bit of a mindset that they don't last a long time, but in the proper setting, they can last a long time. Um, um,
Especially when they're dimmed.
and Yeah, and that's the proper setting, right? And that's why you want them. You you want to be able to have that mood, that glow. I use a very sophomoric, way of talking about it. It's just a nice glow,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
It's something you can't get with an LED or with
That's
a,
the
a
infrared
CFL.
heat, the
Yeah,
infrared light, and the heat that's coming out of it that your body feels. It's a feeling. Incandescent lights are
sure.
delivering a feeling as well as a light source. And
You
LED
know
lights offend that. They're
when
not
I
benign,
first
they offend
yeah
it.
when I first came into the industry, the SAD lighting, the SAD
Hmm.
uh, uh, element
Seasonal
was
affective
in play.
disorder for
Yes,
those who
and
don't know
so
that.
the bulb. I don't know if it was Verilux. Yeah, that
Sure.
had the neodymium uh, coated light bulb that just we couldn't keep it on the shelf. And then the 5,000 6,500 Kelvin CFL replaced it because you just had to have something that made you happier, which is the complete antithesis of what you're suggesting right now, which is your incandescent light bulb is what keeps that rhythm flowing. And I think it's just all about who's getting inside whose head for the most part. But from a pure number standpoint, I can show you proof. People use them. They want to buy them, and we're gonna
I can't keep
we're gonna
chandelier
keep
bulbs
that
on the
available.
shelf. I can't keep
Yeah,
chandelier bulbs on the shelf, dude. We sell so
yeah.
many chandelier bulbs, like all
And,
different shapes and sizes and wattages and bases and everything, man. People love them.
and so whenever I'm trying to, we do have that clientele that they want LED. They have some economic reasons to go LED. They have some energy saving reasons to go LED. So, but they love that incandescent light bulb. And I think about, just restaurants, steakhouses, maybe that have that. You walk in there, what do they want to use? And yeah, I have some suggestions. I have some lamps that I could show you that work almost as well. You're talking about a filament based frosted LED light bulb that does dim pretty well. We have that on the shelf, and it does well. So the world, in other words, the world's still trying to mimic the incandescent light bulb because it's so good. And there are a segment of the population that just demands that effect. So,
Let's
and you
say for
can't you
example you
can't
made.
reproduce it.
I'm gonna make a comparison to you. So incandescent lights are, oh, that feedback's driving me crazy now, Scott. You got to figure something out there. Incandescent lights are to are like candles. They're a form. There's a burning filament inside of it that's delivering a non-visible form of light that is humans know it when they feel it. Period. End of the
Yeah,
story. And
yeah. It's funny.
LEDs
Yeah.
flicker when you dim them, and that is offensive. It's not actually
Oh,
benign. It's damaging.
yeah, trust me, we get the phone call that whenever the phone call says my lamps are flickering, yeah, it's offensive. But going back to your candle statement, I giggle inside because one of the ways, one of Kim's pastimes is trying to figure out what to say about something to get somebody to click on it. I mean, it's like playing the lemonade stand, right? How can I describe it to click on it? And he loves the term candle glow.
Mm.
He's called incandescent lamps candle glow, and we were talking about 2200 Kelvin on an LED. He calls it candle glow, and I've never heard anyone else say that before, so I'm almost going to go, well, crap. Now you're going to make me defer to Kim because I've always hated the term candle glow, and here you are making him the rock star, saying that's what we should say.
Well, that's because he's a visionary leader. And so
Of
maybe
course,
he's way past most people in the industry in terms of what he's thinking about. And he's sold so many light bulbs and he thinks about lighting all the time that when in his brain when he conceptualizes LED, he sees the limitations immediately, whereas other people are caught up in the cascade effect of this is the best thing that ever happened. It's a piece of the puzzle. That's all. LED is part of
sure,
the
yep,
puzzle and so is incandescent. If a light is run 24/7 or 12 hours a day or 8 hours a day, it should be LED for sure. I'm with 100%. But in
yeah.
people's homes, incandescent lights should be everywhere. in my opinion.
Yeah, you won't get any argument from me. And to put a little ribbon on that, they're not going to get the economic savings anyway at the
Nope.
house, right? I mean, the payback is what, your lifetime, and then you might get the payback, So unless you've got the mega mansion with 10,000 lights in it,
Well, then you can afford whatever. If you can't pay for the
whatever
lighting,
you
that's
want,
your problem. But if you got a big
right?
mansion, but
Absolutely.
what they're getting from incandescent lights and halogen as well is the health effects that they haven't discovered yet. That's all. That's it. They're getting the benefits of a firelight in their home, something akin to candles and fires, which delivers infrared waves, and that's important in the health question. And the researchers haven't figured that one out yet. Period. End of the story. And Kim knows it, and I know it, and we'll just wait.
Sure. Yeah, and as we wait, we just try to meet the demands of the people right now. So,
Exactly.
which is, again, if you want your LED, I got it. But if you want your halogen MR16, your incandescent VR30 for your house, I got that too. And we got people who know about them still, right? So, and we stock them. We're ready to go.
And to transition back to business on my side, shipping. Are you running into a lot of shipping issues because you ship your product everywhere?
Well, you know, if you ship glass across the country, to a job that needs to have it done next week, yeah, there's going to be some issues, right? There, in terms of specifics, but in general, we don't have issues shipping. Uh, I don't know how many people are in that warehouse that run that pick, pack, uh, ship, get out the door. Very, very little breakage. You're going to ask me for a percentage. I don't know the percentage. I just know from the years of taking phone calls, very little breakage when it comes to glass. If it does break, guess what? It's a nuisance. We're going to take care of that nuisance. There's not questions asked about how to take care of that. We're going to give you your money back on something that breaks. We try to be very sensitive with the peanut. People don't like peanuts. Ours are environmentally safe. They're going to dissolve. We use paper where we can't use peanuts. Um, and we ship out, I don't know, 4 or 5 trucks a day of pallets out the door plus FedEx. So shipping times are fairly easy, and we have the same problems anybody else does in the country when it comes to you know the overall pandemic backlog. The what's happened was a result of manpower and shipping issues there. But on our end, we don't have any issues.
And then the last item I wanted to ask about is non-lighting product on your website, like PPE masks and things. Are you actually
Yeah.
selling those? Is there any other items that you're doing?
The PPE is, it was a response last year, obviously, and we wound up giving away over 5 million masks. Instead of selling them, we did you spend so much, you get a box of masks. We did, and we did sell. We had some that were, some profit as well. With the vast majority we gave away. We did hand sanitizer at that point too, and some other products. But as far as non-lighting, we everything that we do is going to be based with lighting, whether it's the controls, switches, tape, rope light. I'm trying to think about the website right now. We do have some hydroponic products as well. So some stuff to relate to the seeding and the growing of, we'll have some stuff there. But it's in general all lighting oriented, or maybe an ancillary accessory to lighting.
Well, Steven, thank you for being a guest on the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast.
Sure.
Coming up on an hour here, folks. You made it to the end, and you're listening. If you listen to this podcast, you probably already know about 1000bulbs.com because they're out there. Whenever you search anything on the internet, you find them. I guess Kim Pedersen and I will just wait for the scientists to vindicate our opinions, which will happen, I guarantee you. But before you go, you might want to pull out your phone or your computer, Greg Eric, and they should go to KeystoneTech.com, brother. That's KeystoneTech.com. What do you got, Greg?
That's right. Light made easy. All the LED products you need. They give good samples too. That's always an important thing we didn't talk to you about today, but that's an important part of lighting is getting samples in people's hands, and Keystone does a great job of that.
So the easy folks down at Keystone Tech, of course, National Association of Innovative Lighting. The National Association, yeah, we're live. National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. Go to nail.org. That's right. All of our people on this show are LS1 trained. Not all, but we're getting there. And we also have LS Evolve and LS2 for you. Come on down. And Stephen Perry, any final thoughts for the listeners at the end of the show here?
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity. First time I've been able to speak with gentlemen in the industry like yourself on a podcast. So thanks for letting me trip up in the beginning and then saving it in the end. 1000bulbs.com. All your lighting needs met, whether you are a homeowner looking to do a little thing, or if you've got a business and you need to cover your lighting, all of your corporate needs. We've got it. Just come to us. Phone call, website. We'll take care of you.
Before that, go call Atlas Lighting.
We're not competing. There's the iceberg's big, sir. We got plenty of room for everybody here.
Exactly. And Kim Pedersen, I have great admiration for you. Greg and I both do.
Yeah, we'll get you hooked up with him. I think he'd love to come on your show.
Thanks for listening, folks.